Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Meghnad. In the previous module, we learned how to install MySQL. In this module, we will learn different types of SQL commands. So let's get started. When you want to work on SQL, you might need to write different types of commands like how to create a table, how to insert data, and how to select data, how to update data. So you have to learn different types of commands that we have in MySQL. So let's get started. Now, the first thing that we have is DDL commands. So DDL stands for data definition language. So in DDL commands, we have create, alter, drop, truncate. So all these four commands primarily deals with table and not the data. So creating a table, altering a table, dropping a table, truncating a table. So when you want to work on MySQL, first you have to create database and then you have to create tables. Once you have tables, you need to insert the data to it. So this DDL commands primarily deals with the table structure and not the data. So I repeat once again, DDL stands for data definition language and primarily deal with the table and table structure, like create a table, alter a table. Let's take you create a table with four columns and you want to add one more column to it. So you alter the table. So create a table, alter a table, drop. Drop will remove the table. So and truncate will refresh your table. So we'll talk about truncate later. So all these four commands deals with tables and the table structure and not the data. So these are data definition language. Now the next one we have is data manipulation language. So as the name says manipulating. So in this category of commands, you will manipulate the data. For example, you will insert the data, you will update the data, you will delete the data, and you will select the data. So in case of selection, since you are selecting the data, it actually will not manipulate the data. It actually queries the data. So that's why sometimes select is referred as data query language. So, but as a category, so all these four commands belongs to data manipulation language. Selecting data, inserting data, updating data, deleting data. So you're working with the data. So it's data manipulation language. So primarily DML stands deals with the data manipulation language. So let's go back previously. So DDL commands primarily deals with the table and table structure. DML commands primarily deals with the data and manipulating data. The next one, we have data control language. Now, data control language, the commands are grant and revoke. Now, when you join a project, your DBA, database administrator, will grant you the access. And when you're done with the project, he will revoke your access. So that's why data control. Control means who will have the control, and that person will grant and revoke the access for you. And that's why these commands belongs to data control language. Grant and revoke belongs to data control language. And the last one we have is transactional control language, which is TCL. Now, to understand TCL, let's take a simple example. Now, your bank account is having, let's take $6,000 balance, and your friend's account is having $2,000 balance. Now, you're transferring $500 to your friend account, and in this case, we should have to do two updates. So your balance should become 55, and your friend's balance should become 25. Now let's take, for example, your balance has become has got updated to $5,500, and your friend's account has still not got updated. It's still 2,000. Now in this case, this update, let's assume it's failed. So in this case, what it has to do is this update should be rolled back. So in case if this update failed, this update also should be rolled back. So if both are successful, now imagine this becomes 6,500 and this become 2,500. So both the balances got updated. You need to commit the transaction. So a transaction is nothing but an update of one or more commands to happen. So in case if anything fails, we will roll back. In case if everything is successful, we'll commit the transaction. So commit and roll back belong to transactional control language. Now let's quickly summarize what are the different types of commands we have learned. So we have four types of commands. Data definition language deals with the table and table structure. Data manipulation language deals with the data. Data control language, grant and revoke, DBA will use it. Transactional control language, commit and roll back. So these are the four types of commands. And one last time, creating a table, altering a table, dropping a table, truncating a table, deals with the table. So it's DDL. Selecting data, updating data, inserting data, and deleting data. So it deals with data and manipulating. So it's DML. And grant permissions and revoke permissions, the person will have control, DBA will do it. And that's why this is grant and revoke data control language. And the last one, commit and roll back. If every transaction is success, if every command in a transaction is success, we'll commit the transaction. If anything fails, we'll roll back the transaction. So that's transaction control language. And one point to note here. So select is, since you're selecting the data, sometimes this is also referred as data query language. Select command, which is actually in DML, it's also referred sometimes as data query language. So I hope you are clear with different types of commands in SQL. In the next module, we're going to learn, we'll get started with creating table. Thank you. See you in the next module.